pin, you don't have to have that much, because when you got the two parts on it, it is a little crowded. So on here, just in the middle works out perfect with this one. So, and okay. On this pin, you only have one part of the pin. I don't know if anybody's ever done the Sierra, but when you're doing most ink pins, if you make it a little shorter, a little longer, it doesn't matter. You take part where the clip is, you push it in a little farther, you put it left, and then you can have the top on it shorter. Well, I found out on this, because I had a bad spot on it, and I wanted to use it anyway, so I went ahead and just cut the whole blank down, you know, about that far, and I figured it would just make a shorter pin. But it doesn't work with these pins. You end up with a silver pan where it doesn't complete. So this is something I just use around the shop. So don't ever get the idea you can shorten this one and use it, because they don't work with those kits.
What kind of pin was that?
It's a Sierra, a Wall Street, a Gatsby. They're all the same thing by different names from different companies. You know, they're really easy to turn. You've got one piece, and the sim one is you can almost do it by hand. You know, it's a real easy process. I think they're about the easiest pins I've ever done.
Hey, Ralph.
I have one.
No. Okay.
All right, fine. Usually I forget to bring it with me. I forget one way or another, I'm not going to get it right. It's got kind of a nasty smell to it. It smells more like a resin, only because there's just so much stuff soaked into it trying to keep it solid. I'm not sure what most people, I like tearing it with the skew. To me, it's just so much easier. It was harder to get used to doing it with a skew. I started off with, I went down, I had some sort of a small turning tool that I was using in the beginning, and I went down to Woodcraft and told them I was looking for something for making pins. The guy comes out with a roughing gouge about this big. Said, that's perfect. And I got in there, took it home, tried it, and I loved it. I used that for like the first 2 years turning pins, because you got such a big round spot, you can't hardly catch it on anything because it's, you know, this far across. But that was really neat, nice way to do those. Usually on some other word, I'm a little more aggressive on cutting it off, but I would like to keep this in one piece.
Rob, do you vary your turning speed very much between materials, or you always turn roughly about the same speed?
It's on high. You know, no, usually for a pin, I set off all the way at the same speed. I'll slow it down sometimes when I'm sanding or something like that, but not for the turning part. Just still a little fatter than what I wanted. I'm not sure where the belts are set at this one. Okay, normally when you turn the pin, you want to turn it to where this part of the end here is flush with the bushing. The outside of the bushing is equal to the same thickness of the part you're putting it on for a pin. But we're going to use a CA finish on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go under the thickness of the bushing. If you don't do that and you have it flush, then you put the CA on it, your actual pin is going to be about that much thicker, and you're going to have like a ridge in between the two there. So I want to make it a little lower than here. So once I put the CA glue on it, it'll end up being flush with the bushing afterward. That's the theory.
So if you really like the big old roughing belt, why did you switch?
I just got used to using this. And everybody I've taught how to do it, I've taught them to use this. And my daughter, she'll come over there during the evening and make 4 or 5 ink pens and using this skew. Buckeye burl is a gorgeous wood. A lot of times it's really hard to tell what it's going to look like when you, once you get it into it from the outside. I've had some that wasn't very visible. You couldn't really tell what it's going to look like. And when you got done, it's turned out really gorgeous.
The green's natural, not your glue.
What's that? This?
Green color.
Green color in it.
No, that's natural. In fact, when you get done, you'll see all kinds of different colors inside of them. And looking from the outside, you really can't tell what you're going to end up with. I'm trying to sand down a little farther than what I took it there.
You have someplace to sell something if you make?
What's that?
You have somebody you sell pins to if you make them?
No, I just keep collecting them. I've got 100 and something pins out in the van. I don't think I've sold any for the last 2 or 3 months. Jerry came over my house and with a friend of his, and he bought 2 or 3 before Christmas. I sold maybe a couple since then. I really get more enjoyment out of making them and giving them away. Don't get any ideas, but that's. Yeah. I usually have some paint thinner or something up here just to see what it's going to look like. That way you get an idea what it's going to look like when it's done. So, all right, from first thing I do is I go ahead and sand it. I use the 400, 150, I'm sorry, 150, 180, 220, 320, and 400 before I put the CA glue on. That way I've got a nice smooth finish because you're still looking through the CA glue for the finish you're putting on it.
First quit was 150.
150, and this is 180. That was 220, this is 320, and then 400, and then we'll put on some super glue, CA glue. Being it's going around like this, after you sand it to take it off, I turn it off and go sideways on it so you don't have the circles going across there. Jimmy, am I going too fast for you? Yeah, I was trying to pull it down.
I need about 10 more.
Okay.
I do have some blanks over here you can use.
I have some blanks.
I know he's got, I know he's got plenty of.
Yeah,
pin
yeah,
kits.
Jerry brought me 20 pin kits
I
tonight.
think I saw about 30,000 of them out here in the store.
Yeah,
They were rearranging them today.
I think I got more pin kits than they do. Okay, now I put tape on the bushing just where it meets up to here, because that super glue, when you put it on there, doesn't want to just stay on the wood. And I try and get as close as I can to there, build it up a little bit, that way it'll be easy to take off when I'm done.
That looks like a large mandrel, or is that a sleeve on there, Rob, to the left?
Right here?
No, not the bushing, but between the bushing and the space.
Oh, these are all spacers.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's a 1/4 inch mandrel?
yeah, it's a regular mandrel. It's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spacers on there. Because you're only using the one side of it.
The reason I'm asking, I haven't turned any pins, I hope to turn some down the road.
Do you know where I live?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can come over there.
He'll let you turn as many as you want.
But you could just teach him tonight.
Yeah, I'll get out the way.
You aren't getting off that easy. You aren't getting off that easy.
Is that regular CA or the finishing CA?
This is just a medium CA. Why is it?
If you
It's
use their
not specifically for fish.
finishing stuff.
It does actually say CA wood finish.
Yeah, what is it?
I don't know that it's any different.
The stuff marked as finishing has a little bit slower drying time.
I don't have patience for that.
Well, it's not that much, it's still quick.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll take it, put it on here, and just run it across, and drop that down into there, which way I didn't have a trash can. And then you could wait about 5 minutes. I'll put the activator on, wait a little bit, and okay. And one thing when you're working with this type of wood that's not the greatest stability, you don't want to blow all these things away, because a lot of times you'll chip out a chunk bigger than what you want. You put CA glue on, you just take and pound it in there, and you can't tell the difference. The burls don't particularly want to stay together too good.
Where do you get these girls that by?
These came from Rockler. They're normally right at $9.95 each for these burls, but they had them on sale for $4.95, and they're long enough that you can cut them in half and make 2 ink pens out of it. So it ends up costing like $2.50 per pin for making this.
that's
Plus
the
a kit.
paper towel there.
Yeah, I just put a piece on. Yeah, that one ain't dry yet. Yeah, I just cut them up into sections, so you don't end up super gluing it. I just drop them in the thing, and then in case you do super glue your fingers together, this is super solvent.
What's it called?
I've learned when it starts
This
getting
is-
hot, it's not friction, it's a chemical reaction.
Mhm.
And you just glue your fingers together.
I have
If it's getting hot, it's hard to throw it in the garbage.
If you can get rid of it.
well, that's why I put it on here, and then I just get out of the way after I drop it in there. I put about 6 coats on it. You've got to build it up thick enough.
You don't do any sanding or anything in between?
No. You've got to put it on thick enough, because if you get a little area that's too thin, as you're sanding it, you pretty much got the shape. So all you're going to do is, smooth it out from the parts that are on there for my fingers, put it on. You want to smooth that out and get it on there, but if you take too much off, it'll be nice and shiny, except for one area be dull, or area here be dull.
You might mention, Rob, that you can get a big bottle of acetone at the drugstore for a lot less.
Not less than that one.
Well, unless you got it free.
No, actually, Kintec had these. They had a whole box of them over there, and they've been sitting there for years trying to sell them for like $8.50. What selling them? So they decided to get rid of them. They marked them down to like 50 cents. Okay. I don't know why they decided to get rid of them, but
And you sure that the debonder is just plain acetone?
Yeah, yeah.
It's gotten real expensive, it's what, $18 a gallon or something?
Or you can get a bottle like this and about that big around, I don't know how much it is in the drugstore for just a few bucks. And just plain acetone is all it is. Fingernail polish and maybe.
That's got, smell good in it.
Yeah, but it's charging more for fingernail polish. Remember?
yeah. I usually don't do the CA finish that often because it's more time consuming. You know, and if you look at the difference, you look at two pins side by side, both of the same material.
I was gonna say,
The dollar look to me looks more real than having this high gloss finish on a piece of wood. So I just want to make sure everybody knows how to do it, but it's really not.
What's your other thing?
I use I go my sandpaper through the 400, then I use multi-mesh or no EE Ultra Shine, and then I go my multi-mesh sandpaper, and I use sandpaper and a friction polish. So the last two things are thanks for all kinds of bumps on there where I got it irregular, so I have to sand that down when it comes time.
Wouldn't the CA glue dry by itself? Without the vacuum?
Yeah, but it takes like 4 or 5 minutes, you know, for the
It
medium.
will, but it takes longer.
Yeah.
What is the base of the accelerator? What is the accelerator?
Water. There's other stuff in it. You can use regular water. There's other type of accelerators that are out there that are they're a pump, a spray. But the problem with those are I've used them at times and it actually turns my wood white. And I'm not sure what's up with that. Bob will let me use it for a minute.
Yeah, it says it contains acetone, so it's some of the same solvent
All
that's in it.
super glues aren't the same formula either, so you really should use activator by the same manufacturer.
Yeah, these are both by Stick Fast.
And there was a stick fast guy down at GAW one night, and I asked about if that activator was different from the regular stick fast activator, and he said yes it was. It was made formulated for that particular wood finish steel glue. So you use the activator specifically for the glue that you use.
Yeah, I've tried the spray bottle type a couple times. I'm not even sure if it was the same brand or not, but I know it does. I wasn't happy with the result. I'm gonna do it one more time after that and put a thick coat on. We'll let that dry and then I'll start sanding it off. Hopefully this stuff works so fast, so you spray it on there. It's amazing you can touch it just seconds later. I use a medium CA glue. You know, it really doesn't make a difference whether you use, I guess, medium or thick. You probably wouldn't make much of a difference. The thin, you can't control that stuff. I have such a hard time trying to put a little drop of CA glue on something using the thin CA glue. That just runs over everything I do. Yeah, if you didn't get the activator and you just want to do this, you're going to put this on, come back 10 minutes later, make sure it's dry, and then put another coat on, another coat. You know, it'd take you forever to do just one pin. All right. You kind of end up with a crust around between the tape and there. So what I'd like to do is take a skew and just kind of break that free before I take it off. It just seems to make it a little easier on me. And I have broke the wood off at the same time doing this, so I guess it's not always easier.
You ever tried putting wax on your metal parts instead of the tape?
No. I want to try it like this, and I have, I've glued these to the point that when I went to take one of these off the other day, I actually had to put this part in a vise and use something that would go over there and a hammer, like something to get it off. I did a fine job of gluing that one. And I did bring the instructions for the Mesa pin and the Gatsby. They're both by different companies, but if you look at all the specs and everything on it and the methods, they're worded different, but they're the same thing. And the same thing with the Wall Street, and there's a couple other ones that are all the same type of materials there.
Touch on what different suppliers you use for kits and what you think of.
I like Penn State. Woodcraft is just so expensive to buy them individually or even to order them from them. My favorite place I get all my pin kits is Wood Turnings. I order them online. If you order 5 or more of these, you get a discount on them. And the slimline pins end up costing you $1.70 a kit,
Yeah.
where a lot of places are $3 or $4 for the same
Have
kit.
you used any of the Bereas?
Which ones?
Berea.
I see them advertised.
I know the company you're talking about, but I have not ordered them from there.
How about Arizona Silhouette?
Nah. I just get them from Wood Turnings.
Yeah.
I've used those for several years now, and yes, Wood Turnings was the. This is 150, which I should have brought more than one piece. But I don't really, except for straightening it out, because when you put that on there, the super glue, you're not able to get it go all the way smooth across. It has little ripples in it, and the hardest part is just getting that out of there. 'Cause I got most of it except for this one area here irritating me. All right. All right, from this point, I'm just sanding it lightly on each one just to get the grits off from the one to the other. I don't want to do too much sanding on it. I don't want to go through the little layers that I put on. I usually use oil and stuff by hand in between time just to get some of the sawdust off of here. Okay, so I've used 150, 180, 220, 320, 400. This is EE Alta Shine. It's sort of like a emulsion of wax, and it's got a fine grit in there. So if you listen to it, turn this, you can hear the grit inside it. And it makes a big difference between this and the other layers as far as what you're doing on there. And I work pretty hard at cleaning up all this stuff so I don't get it on. I use micro mesh next, and this has got like an oily grease to it, and I don't want to get on the micro mesh. So I clean it up pretty good with this. Now you can see what it looks like right now. And if you put, a little more sanding on it, and then you put the friction polishes up, it looks pretty good. And to me, that looks more real than the super glue finish. But that's not what we're doing tonight. All right. Rearrange the working area here. I'm going to wet sand this with the micro fit mesh. So like you ever wet sand the car, it works out the same way, but it really adds a lot to it as far as buffing the finish in there.
When you started with?
One.
First one.
Actually, they're like 1,500 going through 12,000. But being I don't want to look at the grit, I put 1, 2, 3.
I wrote my grades on, but they wrote it on the.
Yeah. It was just easier for me to put 1 through 9. And I didn't have to figure out what I was.
I dropped a stack of that stuff one time without a damn mark, and boy, that's a
Oh,
mess.
then you drag out the color chart again.
Yeah, you drag out the color chart and go, okay, what's this?
Yeah, well, I marked them before I used them. I did find out some good news on this stuff the other day. I was talking to my cousin on Facebook, and he told me he'd been up to, he lives in Michigan, but he had been up to a wood type of show there. And I knew he had nothing to do with woodworking. So I asked him why he was there, and he said his company does demos there. And he just hangs out with people. What they do is he works for a place that makes abrasive products. And I said, well, what kind? He said, anything like micro mesh? He said, yeah, it is micro mesh. So he sent me a whole box of samples. So, all right, that'll work good for me.
You have to send him a couple of pins.
Yeah.
If I could. I actually told him to come visit. You come visit, I'll make some pins. Just about anybody's come over to the house that's visited, they've ended up making pins before they left.
A lot of material for one pin.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of steps. That's why I don't do this that often. I can make regular pins, 2 or 3 of them during the time that you go through all these steps on here. Because I don't use wet sanding and stuff when I'm doing the regular pins, or without the super glue finish, CA finish.
I think the CA's working.
It looks great on a lot of them. A lot of people really love it. They're just depends on. Some people just like the natural wood.
I think friction polish looks fine to me.
Doesn't the CA offer a more permanent finish though than the friction polish?
It has that reputation.
Well, when you're done with the CA finish, I don't know how clear it's coming off there. But anyway, when you're done with the CA finish, it's the same as doing an acrylic pen. It's just as hard, lasts for a long time, and it does a great job.
Yeah, you're talking about a product, its purpose is to be in.
Yeah,
So you
Yeah, so it's-
made it into plastic, it's perfect.
it works out good. All right, let me assemble this monster. I'm gonna see if I can do it right up here. Now, sometimes you do have to persuade it to come apart between the 2 parts here. Oh, this one's coming apart real easy. Ah, that's perfect.
Rob, does that mandrel screw into the adapter end?
No,
So you could put an adjustable on there if you wanted to?
I've never broke it loose in between there. I don't think you could.
Yeah.
Well,
Whoops,
oh,
drop
glad-
test.
Glad that's not my pen. Okay. Actually, on the end over here, I can see some of the blue tape, which wouldn't look good as a trim.
Green.
Racing stripes.
Don't do this at home. All right. Let me get this all the way off here. Okay, from this point, I've got like 3 choices of what type of a pin. With those colors, we can use a gold, silver, or another one's a gunmetal. And I think the silver would look really sharp with it. I brought one of each just in case. We could have like the drawing first and see which color the person wants, but it's,
Nah.
that's what I thought, nah. Okay. Now this is a real easy pin to assemble. You You're gonna be pressing this part in, and the other parts you just screw together. You take your pin, put a spring on the end, and you screw. You don't lose
And
the
you drop the spring.
Yeah, you don't lose the spring. I'll hold on to my
Especially
finger.
you got a lot of sawdust on the floor. Looking for that sucker for a while.
I've heard tell people crawling around the floor with a magnet.
You've
Never
heard
seen
tell?
it myself.
Yeah, of course.
That looked like a cross style refill, is that what that was?
They are. Okay, that's the whole part for this part of the pin, which is usually you got different steps on a normal pin. Now you take this, and you look on here and you find the ugliest part of the thing, which this one really doesn't have an ugly part, but you put the clip over anything. If you had a crack or a scratch or something, you try and hide it, and I really don't see a spot on here I would want to hide, so I guess it's just a lesser of evil. I'm just going to put it right on here then. But you just start it and press it on, and Jimmy's got to get ready to warm up here. It presses into there. A little bit of ridge on there. I'm going to use some sandpaper on it before I press it together. All right. And then you press all the part in. And that's it.
All right.
Pass that around so people can look at it.
Yeah.
But
Like pen.
that happens once in a while. But anyway, if we got questions how to do the CA finish or any type of pens or anything?
Penn State uses the bushing numbers. What number was, Slimline is what, a 4 mm? I'm trying to think. 7 rather, goes up.
This one's actually 470 thousandths thick, but it's just listed by the pin type. You know, if you go from Penn State, they've got it, what they call it, the Gatsby, I think, and it's just listed as the Gatsby pin thing. They do have a number for it, but I don't know which one it is. You know. So we turned that toad into a prince or something like that. So, yeah.
Good job.
All right. Jimmy.
Get out a little early tonight, so. But I'm here to demonstrate how I turn pins. What am I turning?
That's an awful big blank for a pin.
Yeah. Well, I saw one yesterday on the counter, but to turn these ornaments, you can turn them in 100 different ways, and everybody's got their way of doing it. So I'm not here to teach anybody proper way to do something, but just I was asked to show how I do it, which may be right, may be wrong, but I'm gonna start by just doing some, well, I'll give you some demos here. This is a segmented type, and that's the first one I glued up. And it's sort of strange looking, but it works, so I can just pass that around here. The way that one is turned, and the way you get started on something like that is you cut your segments, and they're cut at somewhere near 6 degrees. And I say somewhere near because even though I use my very precise calculated, instead of taking 30 pieces at 180 or 360 degrees, it took 32 pieces. So that means I was right shy of a 0.6.0 or whatever. So there's 32 pieces in this one, and this is the way I do mine. I would glue this up on this sacrificial piece here, chuck it up, and then go from there and turn it, and then holler it out once it's cleared off the way you want it clear and what size. Then you can holler it out, or you can go with turn in some of the outside. I normally would turn the first half of it down, and to do that I'll show you here. Turn the first quarter of it over and then finish it up and hollow it out. This is another way you can do it. You can glue up your blank. If you have a piece that you don't want to, it doesn't, you're not going to waste that much walnut here. So I just glued it on a solid piece of walnut. Put the 4 pieces on it. And then once you turn it, you get once you turn it, then you get the oval shape out of it. So it's just not that beautiful for a Christmas ornament. It doesn't have the color, but what it does, it just gives you an idea of what you can do with them by just adding the different woods together. Pass that and you get them in there. This is another one I did the same way as that, except I turned it, where am I? Okay, I can't see the camera.
We don't know.
All right, this one, it's not so much Christmassy as color-wise, but it is a good color that blends together. And this is one of the larger ones. I have one I'm working on that's a little bit larger, but I'm gonna cut it way down because it would make your tree hang quite a bit. But depends on what size ornament you want. These can be small. You can just cut these down anything you want them. So, but the color on this one matched up real good.
That'd be a great color for Christmas.
Huh?
That'd be a great color for Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, I like the color combination.
All right, that's a piece of poplar. It has a black veneer under it. A piece of dyed black veneer. On top of that is a piece of cedar. And the rest of this is cedar. And so that matched up. So once you turn it, you only get segments of it. Hopefully we're going to turn this one and get it something like this right here. And you do not have to have a long tail on one, a finial icicle. You can just, whatever you want. I looked at some today on the internet this afternoon, and none of them had icicles on them. They were all turned, I'll try to turn this one without it, so let's go ahead and get started. If I can find the tools there. That'll mark about halfway mark there. Then I'll start at a quarter and round it over. Not with that one. Just a little dull right there. work with different tools from what you're normally used to, things go a little different, so. You have to make adjustments, this doesn't come up far enough for me.
Is that other one got longer closer?
I don't know. Leave it to us. Cheat a little bit, use it as a scraper.
What is that tool that you're using? So what is that tool that you're using? What is that?
Scraper.
Is it scrape a flat scraper or is it a shell?
No, it's a,
Flat scraper, isn't it?
no, it's not a scraper, it's a, well, you got me. Whatever senior moment here. If I don't have many of those. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead, I've got it rounded off close to where I want it. Go ahead and punch a hole in it. Drill a hole in it for
Man, I thought you were gonna drill a hole with the knockout part.
that would work. If I put it in there and I
Since they
could,
don't.
yeah, that would work, Jerry. We could just put some threads on the end of it.
Yeah,
A little slow. But,
yeah, a little slow. Not cutting one to down.
I saw these things advertised, some others $30 or $40 a piece for them. And I walked in the DeWalt store down there and they had a case of them, they were $3 a piece.
He was junk.
Huh?
You
He
didn't get
was
it,
junk.
you didn't get us all one?
Yeah. I should have, I only bought a couple and I can't find the other ones though. You know.
What else to do?
You win some, you lose some, you know?
Some get rained out.
Let's see. That'll work. Now, I'm using my mark here. I'm gonna set it for 1 inch. And then I can go in 2 inches, maybe even more. Let's see.
You know, I've looked at those marks on top there for how many years, I never even thought about using them to measure something like that. I thought, wow, that's a good idea. They should make that way.
Duh.
And I think this is Butch's favorite way of cleaning out.
That's right.
So I learned that from Butch.
That's my compressor.
That's why my head's so messed up already.
It just don't suck.
All right?
Yeah.
Just don't suck.
Yeah, but that's why they brought me a coat in case I forget, you know, I can clear things out. Okay, we're down to there. That'd be good. So let's go ahead and clear a little bit of this out. Well, that thing gets hot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the bigger ones.
Yeah, when you turn them up really high, well, really
Yeah,
smoke.
they start smoking.
But this is a good little tool. It's sort of, I need to clean that down some more. Get the right tool. This is definitely different from what I've been working with at home, so it's a little adjustment here.
Jimmy, was that a 1/2 inch hole you bored?
No, right shy, 7/16, I
Okay.
believe it is. Somehow I knew someone was going to ask me that, and the markings are gone on it.
Yeah.
So I took it over to my other box and measured it with another one. It's right shy of a 1/2.
If you're like me, now that hole's a 1/2 inch.
It'll be a little more
Mine always
because probably
goes
before I get
larger.
through. A little bit.
What's you?
Yeah, that hole's getting a little bigger, watering it out, I think.
No, the purpose of that is primarily for weight reduction, right?
Right.
Mm.
Gotta be under, you know.
Yeah, so it's not to finish off the inside, but just reduce the weight.
And we'll be able to see the inside when you're done.
Yeah.
There are contests, like the AAW or something. There is a weight maximum.
Okay.
It was like 2.5 ounces.
2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy, were you cutting on the push and pull stroke?
Yes. And I try to get it about even or just a little above the even level on the inside, then I can turn it a little bit. Turn it this way, or turn it that way. But it's not quite as long as I would like for it to be. Don't crank it up, right?
Getting me to Willie's.
Huh?
Getting me to Willie's.
You're sitting on the front too.
Yeah, I know.
This thing comes apart.
Cut through that wall, maybe touch
I've already done it one time today, so.
it. Okay, I'm moving now.
It is nice that that absorbent tool has a square shank on it that, so many of them are round, and that's where the torque, when you get in there.
Keeps it twisted too much. I've got one of those, I love
That
it.
square shaft helps.
Yeah.
These are really good. Jimmy was asking, did you get one?
Yeah, I've got it set up.
Really good.
I was afraid to sharpen mine. You know, they come, they're so sharp and so perfect, I don't wanna mess with it. Yeah. I take a little piece of sandpaper and just touch it a little bit, and I don't wanna change that edge on that.
Let me clean this one down a little bit, around it, I'll be through with it.
You could, but you got like a round surface.
That use mine enough to have
Yeah,
sharp.
mine's still sharp. Mine does a great job.
This is where I get into a lot of trouble. I've been trying to learn how to use these skews, you know. So I did a finial on one of those, and I did it all with a skew, this thing right here. And I was so proud of myself. That was Tuesday. So yesterday was altogether a different story. I couldn't do anything right with this thing. All I could do was get catches and hang ups, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And it just goes flat.
You wanna go get the bomb suit for you, Jerry?
Yeah. I got two in front of me, and I'm hoping they don't duck fast enough. Well, you got the secret now, Jimmy.
I think it's working.
This works every other day.
Yeah.
Don't touch it tomorrow.
Today, using every day.
They can start with T's, I guess. That's pretty slick. It won't need much sanding, hopefully. I'm gonna try something different that I've not tried before, and I'm gonna try to do it and just turn it down to a point, take it off without having to put a finial on the end of it or an icicle.
I do that with most of mine. And I've never gone to the store and bought an ornament that had an icicle on it. So I normally don't put pinwheel on it, anything more than 3/4 inch.
Except the logo is years ago, but you make some
Yeah.
class like
I'm not getting it.
Got plenty of room there without it coming off to the front.
I mean, the whole ball, or you need the front? I mean, only.
I think I'll park that one off now and just leave it that way. If I need to get a little more out of it, but instead of sanding it, I'm already full of dust already. And the mask wouldn't do me any good at this point, so let me sand it just a little. Where's my sandpaper going?
I got some that I was using, if you want to use it.
I got some here. I won't. that'll do for this, I guess. It'll be a long one, isn't it? But that's not very heavy. It could use some more coming out of it, but it's not very heavy. You don't need a finial, and you could sand it off and make you a little finial on top. That's all you need, really. So you can see it's not gonna be whatever you want it to be. When you start turning, you can make them 100 different ways. So I passed some around earlier, and you can see the difference in them. Some are a lot smaller, bigger. This piece here can be used for another one if you want to make a small one, or you can do something else I've done with them. And this one right here was one that came off of the same type of setup here with a sacrificial piece. And so when I got down here, I just decided I would just save this piece that came off of here and make a box out of it. So you can take those and make them anything, make them matching, you know, or whatever. But that's a nice little box. A lot of you like to make little boxes, so you could try that. So I didn't cut it off yet. So and this one, I still got to make the finials for it. So, and we can put this in there and turn it. So why don't we do that? Oh, here you go. That's light. It's pretty light. And all you need is a little finial on top.
What wood did you say that was, Kenny?
Poplar.
Oh.
Yeah, we got it over at that cabinet shop. That time they gave us some scrap stuff. And it was about 2 by 2, really for those mahogany doors. I try to mark these things when I take them off where I can put them back in the same way where they'll balance out. And if I don't, they'll start wobbling on me. So I try to get them right back the same way.
Mean like that?
As you can see, guys,
That's a demonstration purpose.
absolutely. But I have an answer for that too. So.
Bring the tape stock up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did earlier today. But that don't always make it balance where you want it.
Yeah, I found that marking the location helps real well with the bowl if you have to take it out of the chuck and then later on put it back in.
Yeah. Where did it go? So we do have a tool for that. this particular warrant here someplace. This one right here.
Good steel.
Yeah, the current stuff, I'm definitely moving.
Hey, I'm nervous. This is not something I do every day.
You're doing a good job.
But when he said, teach a course or something like that in turning ornaments, I said, no way. And then it got around to, well, maybe I could just show what I do, right or wrong, you know. Let's see if that works.
You did good.
We can make it round anyway.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah, we'll make it round. We've got plenty of room to take it off. So, see how that looks. Looks pretty good. It's gonna be too big though, so I'm gonna cut it way down. Cause it's gonna be way too big. See if we can make it round. See if I can make it round. I don't know how to get all this weed stuff. And you're gonna have plenty here to make your box top, if you wanted to do that. I'm missing a ruler. So. that's all right,
What are you looking for?
a tape measure, ruler. But that's okay, I can go a different route here.
Oh, we got one here. You borrowed from,
I'm good, I'll go without it. Thank you. 2 inches. So this ball's 2 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill all the way through it. So I set my gauge here for 1 inch. So I'm up to 3 3¼ How to do it. I'm going too fast, I need to slow down.
no, you're doing all right.
Oh, no,
You got about 10 minutes till we need to start cleaning up.
10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
all right. This time, Jim, I'm holding it level. I've got it, I need to cut both ways, so I must have it pretty well on the right horizon here, horizontal setting for it. I'm about halfway through it. Yeah, I don't, oh, here it is. And the tape's down here too, so. I'd rather be a little cautious on this and not go so far than have it go through the side, you know, so. I can always finish it when I'm in the shop and it comes apart there, won't nobody know it but me, so. Yeah.
Now, what do you say when that happens?
Oh, well. Oh, I know. We try again, you know, another day.
What kind of wood are they, you don't remember?
Yeah, we got a piece of maple here with a piece of cherry. Oops, what did I do?
Put your bucket.
Bucket, fell out in the bucket. Boy, I tell you, they ain't like home, is it?
I mean, you don't do that at home? I do.
No?
Where did y'all put that?
I just, you know, I don't admit anything.
Well, that's a lie.
Oh, that's not good enough. Dang it. That's close. Do I or do I not? Take a chance.
Jerry's sitting in the back now, so go for it.
Where's Jerry?
And Butch is still sitting behind his even shield.
Well, let's see what happens to that. I shouldn't have brought the other two. It has a round cutter on it, and it cuts real smooth and everything. Well, these take off so much so quick, you can't go through the side.
How you like those, Jim?
I like them, but it's like having a high dollar scraper, it's mostly, you know.
Can you
I
pass
wish-
that around so we see what it looks like?
What, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, that's about $100 and something.
I know, I was trying to save $100.
And I want one of the little ones. They have carbide tips on them. And you turn the tips around as one gets a little dull. And
Nice engine.
there's about 4 or 5 of them out now.
I saw they got them out here on the rack now.
Yeah, Peachtree told me last week they were gonna sell them here. Are
But
those
I'm-
the easy wood?
They
Yeah,
have, yeah,
easy.
they're out there now?
Yeah.
No prices yet.
I got the first 3, and right now I'd like to have the one with a very small, it would be ideal for this, perfect for this, and it has a round cutter carbide, you can turn it as you go, as it gets dull, and they're really great, but especially on hauling out a bowl, well, they're ideal for that. But it's just like a scraper, you know.
How much would you like to have one?
$80. Do you have one? How you like it?
I've only used it once and it was punky wood and I didn't like the result and I've just never tried it again. And it's the smaller.
It's the
round
smaller
one.
round? Oh, I would like to have one of those, yeah.
I might consider bringing it to the next meeting then. Maybe I'll try it again before
I
I do
just-
that.
Try it, because it,
Donkey, you like it.
I might. Actually had a piece of black eye, not pressure. So the last time.
Yes, I saw there one back there for a while.
That was almost off. I
Yeah,
saw
there is.
It was.
I think I'll go ahead and cheat on it. And just turn this thing.
Jimmy, you're having an effect on the audience. Everybody's moving to the rear. Did you notice that?
I'm surprised they're even here. They're being real nice just to stay through it.
They also make one try.
Those things are pretty good on bows.
I may try it, I might just bring it to the next meeting. If you have it on the weekend, I can.
That's why I don't like this thing.
You loved it a while ago?
It was doing good a while ago. I can't teach it anything, you know. It's hard headed.
We didn't know it was past midnight.
Oh, that's bad.
When you can see it from across the room. Oh, probably.
Does this mean I won't be invited back?
No.
I'll do it again.
Again, that's just part of the demonstration.
No, it wasn't. I always have a hard time going that way with it. I don't know why.
It looks like you hold the tool in one hand when you go that way.
Well, that's
I
what.
have to actually switch it over from on the other side of my body, go from one side to the other.
Well, Mark Chalet said I should quit using my left hand because I'm ambidextrous. So I should use my right hand and stick with it, but I just can't. It's sort of hard to do.
I use, I turn left and right. He told me the same thing. I pay attention to it.
We'll see how really bad it is now.
He'd go just real nuts with Don Russell, wouldn't he? He's hardcore left-handed.
Well, he doesn't care which one you use, he just says.
Oh,
whichever
stick with
is your
one.
predominant,
Oh, okay.
that's the one you're supposed to stay with.
I disagree with that.
Well, when I'm standing there and he's talking, I go, yeah, okay, fine. Till I get home. Okay, time to quit.
Did anybody want to buy one of these?
I saw that chunk hanging on the end.
I'll be glad to sell it. I'll give it away.
$78 in that, I'll trade you an easy wood too.
Well, I hadn't tried it all, I'd be embarrassed. Oh, I tell you. That's horrible.
Now it's been
Horrible.
You might be loosening the chuck though. You're wobbling more than you would too. That last catch might loosen it up a little.
Well, it seems to be. No place like home, and I wish that's where I was right now.
Actually, we do need to start
Yeah, we
bringing
need
up
to
so
start
they can get
getting-
out of here.
All right,
We've all done that, Jimmy, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
You got a small one on the table over there that you haven't used, put aside, Jimmy.
yeah. I got something to fix it.
Yeah, here, there we go.
I think this, next time I bring my own tool list.
Getting close.
Let's see, yeah, I got plenty of room. Well, it started out like it was gonna be a very large one. It's gonna be about normal size now.
You was gonna make a small anyway, Jimmy.
Got one little place in it here.
Sandpaper would work good,
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't sandpaper that.
750.
Well, a good woodworker, a good wood turner does not need sandpaper.
Where's that written at? Where's that written at? I like having it.
Not very good then.
That's the second favorite tool next to glue.
And I do like my glue.
I was doing real well before I got here. My wife's gonna say, how did it go? Perfect. I made it, I survived.
Just show her the end result. Let me know how you got that way.
When was the last time you told your wife the truth?
I said, I didn't go there, I went
Somebody
down
gave
to
you
the
this
bar.
tool, honey.
This is what we turned out. All right, let's see if we learned how to fix a problem here.
There you go.
There you go, it's beautiful, beautiful. All we gotta do now is part it off.
Now, why don't you clean it up with a scoop?
Huh?
Finish it up with a skew.
I am, you know, I had a perfect day Tuesday with that thing, and I think I'm gonna blame it on this thing here.
There you go.
Oh, where's my little? Here it is. See if we can part this thing off here. Oh, got it. And it didn't come through either. And now we have a piece for a box top.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Very
you.
good, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it, man.
Kenny, nice job.
Did you say you had something for the,
Everybody didn't leave.
did you have something for the gun?
Yeah. Yeah, one of these, whichever one you
Okay.
want to put in there.
Pick one of those.
How about a skew? Whoever picks number, whoever gets it can have one of these, so whichever one.
Yeah, the first one for the pin on the.
Okay, we'll take it. Okay, 501 again, I already got one.
How do you keep doing
They're all
that?
501 in here, huh?
Hey, check them out.
Okay, 506, do you have a pin or a Christmas ornament?
It was right behind me. I have 505.
506 gone? Okay,
Yeah.
Oh, well.
512. 512,
Doesn't play to walk out of there.
but 510. Okay, a pin or Christmas ornament?
It's ornament.
Okay. 509.
You stuck with pin.
I'm stuck with the pen, gee. Thank you, Rob.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks, Dan.